There you go.
Fellow South Africans, I greet you with a very sad heart. I'm currently enslaved in servitude and in forced labor. Many of you have seen my publications on Facebook, Sly Lemgolisto Mangolele, and then you have also seen many of the posts on my WhatsApp phone. And those particular posts are true and correct, as it is indeed true and correct that each and every one of you was once a child or has a related person who is a child. And therefore, the issue of children affects us all. And I want you to understand one thing, that when I go to the court, I only speak in terms of the law. I cannot take an oath that I cannot uphold. And when enough people make empty promises, words stop meaning anything. There are no more answers. It's just only better and better and better lies. And lies will not assist us going forward. Lies are prejudice to the generations to come and our country. The terms of Section 28(2) of the Constitution are true and correct, and they provide that a child's best interest is of paramount importance in every matter concerning the child. And when you quickly go further to Section 7 of the Children's Act, the best interests in there too are described. And those particular best interests are, whenever a provision of this act requires best interest of the child to be applied, the following factors must be taken into consideration where relevant, namely, the nature of the personal relationship between the child and the parent, or any specific parent and the child, and any other caregiver or person relevant in those circumstances. The attitude of the parents or any specific parents towards the child, it's what must be observed. And the exercise of parental responsibilities and rights in respect of the child. These particular terms affect us all, and the capacity of the parent or any specific parent or any other caregiver or person to provide for the needs of the child, including emotional and intellectual needs. Those are the needs that I need to provide, or any other parent need to provide to their respective children for the greater good of our republic. However, I'm sitting in a position where the courts have concluded summarily or arbitrarily or without just cause that they are not going to listen to me in protecting President Cyril Ramaphosa and the Minister of Defense and many other people, including the Chief Justice. Issues are that persons are scared. And as much as persons are scared, all that I know about court is I do not care who the judge is. The judge can be any other person, because for all I know, in court you have the judge as a presiding officer. You also have a stenographer who will record the proceedings. You will also have the registrar of the court and also the usher of the court, and then therefore either myself or other counsels. And then in this particular regard, there hasn't been any counsels coming before court. The last counsel who came before court was Advocate Mashabela under the instruction of I do not know who, because it's either it's with the court or it's with the respondent. But then he was representing the Minister of Defense, and he came to the court and forced the court to ignore recent orders of the court that have made it possible for you to see the picture of me with my beloved son, and then are currently making it impossible for you to see a picture of me with my beloved daughter Aluta. And Aluta Songelwa, in this particular regard, good people, is an applicant. And the applicant whose rights cannot be limited or cannot be discriminated against in any way, including her age as provided for by the terms of Section 9 of the Constitution. Also to consider in the best interest of the child is the likely effect of the child of any change in the child's circumstances, including the likely effect on the child of any separation from both or either of the parents. It is of best interest for the court to take that into account. And relatively to what is happening right now is that I'm arbitrarily or without just cause prevented from caring for my children, because for caring for my children, that means my money must come from the state, who's got the absolute duty of ensuring that the children are protected from maltreatment, neglect, abuse, or degradation. And those particular things are statute to each and every child. Do not single out Aluta Songelwa. Do not single out Nyiko Mangolele. Do not single out any other child of a parent who cares for their respective children. There are courts that enforces maintenance orders to be done or to be paid by either party in the terms of parenting the children. Those particular courts right now, in accordance to the Pretoria High Court, they have no value or no effect. As long as one person, no severe mapisa ngakula, and the others are protected and they do not have to pay anything. And you must understand that if I am to say that I am bewitched relative to the terms that mandate me to serve the country and its people and defend it in accordance to the Constitution and the law, I must do that 24/7. And in a nutshell, I do not want to lie to you. Even when I'm having sex, that means I'm doing my duties as a soldier. You cannot want to start redefining 24/7. And if you are serious with the business of Defense Force, you would understand that the Defense Force exists solely to protect and defend the Constitution, the territorial integrity and sovereignty of our republic and democracy, the inhabitants of this particular republic and everything that is in it. I want to redefine why the soldiers stands for, but that's exactly what they stand for. You are only currently limited to a situation where now people are enslaved. All soldiers, including all persons in the republic relative to what is happening now, if the rule of law understands the inherent power it has in terms of Section 173 of the Constitution. And Section 8 of the Constitution mandates the court, and to be precise, Section 8.3, it says, when applying a provision of the Bill of Rights to a natural or juristic person in terms of a provision of the Bill of Rights which binds a natural or juristic person if and to the extent that it is applicable, taking into account the nature of the right and the nature of any duty imposed by the right. The best interest of the child are relative and are of paramount importance, and the term paramount importance is only described once in the Constitution. I know the Constitution almost like a back of my hand. I know how to apply that particular Constitution, and I know how it must be applied because I protect the Constitution with my life, as my life belongs to the nation and the state as a soldier. And if anyone comes and wants to dictate otherwise, please bring me my letter of resignation and say, Mangolele, you've resigned from active duty following these particular circumstances. Or bring me the court order that tells me that, okay, you are being discharged because you stole a glass from somebody, or you did this, or you did that. Or bring me a medical certificate which is coming from the Surgeon General which says, I am medically boarded, I am unfit to perform my duties as a soldier. Or bring me evidence that I've absconded from duty for more than 30 days. And those are statutory requirements as mandated by Section 59 of the Defence Act. And those particular terms are true and correct. The situation that we're having here is that somebody decided to say, I'm making an authority to fire to discharge this particular person and leaving him only with a jacket, cold weather, for him to stay warm in the streets. And when one goes to court relative to the terms of Section 34 thereto, you find that the court does not even want to entertain your matter or anything. It says it's not urgent. And urgency, good people, is such that what happens to any other normal human being who gets in a situation where today was expecting to be paid and then you are not paid? How many months after will then such constitute to be urgent? Because you would find that in any event, I have been going to the courts to tell them the exact same thing that you know. And these are the very same courts that are supposed to hold or uphold the rule of law, as the judicial authority is vested upon the courts. The courts who are independent and subject only to the Constitution, which they must apply impartially, without fear, favor, or prejudice, and where no organ or person, organ of state or person may interfere with the functioning of court. And all organs of state must assist the court in terms of holding its core values relative to its accessibility, transparency, dignity, and any other thing that is defined by the Chief Justice in his Practice Manual Volume 3, which was released on October 2018, to say that these are the objectives of the court, and then these are the core values of the court. And transparency and the dignity of court is one of the most important things that one takes into account when you go back to Section 1 of the Constitution, which defines South Africa. And many people fail to understand this particular issue. The preamble of the Constitution is such that the Constitution exists primarily to recognize the injustices of the past, as we, the people of South Africa, do. Honor those who have suffered for justice and freedom in our land. That is what the Constitution exists for, amongst any other thing that I might tell you relative to its existence. And then the injustice of the past is not before 1994. The injustices of our past is such that if I have slapped you or wronged you yesterday, that is defined as the past in law. The Constitution, it's a wheel. It's like this if you understand its terms to the relative meaning. And that's only if words do have meaning. But now, how does the court dismiss or neglect to listen to a child whose parent is representing her or his best interest before the upper guardian of the children's rights? And that particular upper guardian of the children's rights allows one child to be neglected, maltreated, abused, or degraded. Aluta Songelwa has not seen or felt or touched his father ever since July 2019. And you would understand that we have just recently circumvented the issue of 4 years of irreparable harm relative to Nyiko Mangolele and his rights as a child. Not my rights as a parent who wants to care for my child. Not Aluta's right as a parent whom I want to care for, but as the rights of that particular child. That's why